Welcome to What Chaos. It's Thursday, December 14th. Jack Hughes has an in-person hearing for his hit on Luke Hughes. And how are you, Pete?
He's also facing a potential fine for being a little baby in the locker room after he was asked about it several times.
I saw him mouthy on it must have been the TNT in-game interview. You hear that?
He's always a little mouthy.
He was like, Christ, God, what was that? Oh, I hope that shit doesn't. He didn't say shit, but like he had the energy of somebody who was saying like, I hope that shit doesn't happen anymore. Direct quote, Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes is a little bitchy sometimes.
Especially when his brother,
a little whiny boy
on his team.
I do like it there. I mean, we've talked about it when the three brothers met. I was like, one of them needs to be an asshole, and I'm voting for Luke to be the asshole because typically Jack is seen as the golden boy, the pretty boy. He's the heartthrob. I mean, he's the heartthrob to one section of people on hockey Twitter, and Quinn is the heartthrob to another section for people on Twitter. But I think Jack is assuming the role of being the asshole Hughes brother.
My vote was always Quinn. I always wanted it to be like an East versus West thing. These Hughes, like someone getting into hockey, watching the Devils, being like, wow. And they're both on the same team and they're brothers. What an athletic family. And then you're like, yeah, well, there's a third one, and we don't talk about him too much.
We need to get to know Quinn Hughes a little bit because I've heard some interesting things about Quinn Hughes. Elliot Friedman said that he was like one of the best players to talk to in the entire league about the sport of hockey. Would love to do that. We also heard that he hates everything. I think that was the direct quote when we asked about Quinn Hughes. Somebody told us, they were like, he hates everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but
yeah, we asked somebody at an event, and they were like, yeah, he's great, but he hates everything. He's a bit of a crab.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was like an anti-vaxxer.
Yes.
Won't get the jab.
Famously.
We gotta make more of our content about the jab. It's such a fun topic, and everyone's just forgotten to talk about it.
Give us 5 stars, and don't forget to mask up.
Yeah, mask up. Give us 5 stars. Do everything you can on Spotify and everything. We dropped a new series. Episode 1 of Pro Shop Wars is on our socials, so make sure you're following us everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, the whole 9. I've only really seen... Actually, it's doing pretty well on Twitter and Instagram. I haven't logged on to TikTok, so I don't know.
It's doing okay.
But I feel like TikTok is just going to be like, not these men buying items. We go into a pro shop with the same budget and see who can get the most out of the budget. And it's amazing. It ends up getting a good look at the pro shop. It serves as like both fun content and look at various teams' pro shops. We've done 2 so far. 1 is out. We're going to do a 3rd this weekend.
Yeah. And we've already gotten some inquiries about potential sponsorship.
It needs to
segment.
Be sponsored because we spend so much money in it.
Yeah, we're going bankrupt. Our family is dying. But if we have since pivoted from asking for a sponsor to now starting a bidding war. So if you want to get in on the bidding war for the sponsorship of Pro Shop Wars, we're here. You know where to find us.
It was a good night for... I misread that. It was a terrible night for the Buffalo Sabres. Sean, your boys.
What about them?
What about them? They have lost 6 of 8, I believe. They are in a bad way right now. They got smoked by the Avalanche in Colorado last night. Sean, it was the Erik Johnson game.
Yes,
and
apparently.
I missed yesterday's episode because I had to go to church because it was Erik Johnson plays against the Avalanche day. It was a big, big event. A lot of tears. I can forgive. I'm not going to get on Erik Johnson, emotional return and everything. The broadcast was a little dramatic. If we're going to get on ESPN for being silly with the PKGQ, we can get on TNT, who crushes it.
Yeah.
With like you can just let the game breathe for a second. You don't have to keep saying like, and this fella, look, I know he's wearing this one jersey, but he used to wear a different one.
I mean, they had to follow up the Controverse. ESPN had the Controverse the night before. TNT was like, what is our answer? Fuck, we got Erik Johnson.
To me,
we gotta play this up.
The most dramatic part of all of this was Gabriel Landeskog. Like him showing up with his entire family with signs, like he was about to retire, was the most dramatic part of this.
Dude, they're best friends. Leave them alone.
Okay, best friends. Also, where have you been for the other 32 games you've played so far this year?
The Uncle EJ sign was adorable.
Okay,
don't be a hater.
I'm not hating. All I'm saying is
sounds
that
like both of you are magnificent haters right now.
Well, I'm hating. Listen, I'll admit it.
I am a Buffalo Sabres fan, and there was definitely the kind of like your girlfriend won't stop talking about her ex kind of vibe. Like you have a new team. Stop talking about how as soon as I leave this city, I'm going straight back to Denver, because that's basically what he said.
Well, I mean, I can't blame him for playing for this Sabres team. And all the comments that I saw in like response to the tributes were Sabres fans being like, keep him.
I was going to say, how do you like? Are you happy with the Erik Johnson experience so far?
I'm not happy of any part of the Buffalo Sabres experience.
Yeah.
So unless it's JJ Peterka or Zach Benson.
That brings us to the JJ Peterka does rock, and that's the thing.
JJ Peterka rocks.
John Jason.
We're shout out German hockey players. We're upset because I didn't think that they were going to be a real contender this year. I thought they'd be a competitor, and they're not even that. They're the second worst team in the Eastern Conference, which is tough. They got to have a lot of love for the Pacific Division, because there's so many bad teams out there that's preventing the Sabres from being like cellar dwellers. But they are not in a good way. They should be further along than we thought they would be right now. Do you have Hendrik Lundvist from last night? Because that TNT broadcast rocks. They're biting when they need to be. This has teeth, baby.
Anymore. But they're playing like they're in a rebuild, because they're allowing these types of mistakes in their own end too often. They have a pretty good team, but they're beating themselves with how they choose to, pass the puck, take chances. And for them to take the next step and make the playoffs, they need to start playing winning hockey and have accountability in every play. That's what you see from great teams around the league. Accountability, biggest thing.
They're not in a rebuild, but they're playing like they're rebuilding.
What a bar.
That is a great bar, and that is why a lot of like old heads don't like the idea of rebuilding, and they certainly don't like the idea of tanking, because in order to tank, get a high pick, et cetera, unless you're the San Jose Sharks, you need to lose. And at some point, what did they say? After 2 weeks, something becomes a habit.
Yeah.
When you're losing so many games, especially if you're a young player, like you can get used to that, and you can think that that's how life is, and that's what everything. And like there's players on this roster that their experience is. I mean, this team hasn't made the playoffs since 2011. They've had
missed by 1 point last year. It's not like
they missed by 1 point last year, and that was their only 500 season. In like a million
for
years.
Sure. But it's not like this team has not tasted a single crumb of being a competitive team. Last year they were a competitive team. Like they have it in them, and I think that's what makes this season so much more frustrating, because we talked about it at the beginning of the show, or when the show started. Like
Jack Hughes almost killed his brother.
No, the Sabres fans saw this season as like, we have to make the playoffs, and I didn't necessarily agree with that. And like they've still got a bright future. I still believe in this team, and that's kind of why I didn't want to talk about them, and I've avoided talking about them to this point. Is like, I still think that this team can do it, and I still think this team can be competitive, but I mean, we have to address it. They are bad and extremely disappointing this year, and I'm nearing the like end of the line for Don Granato in Buffalo. I think that conversation has to get started.
Greg Wyshynski wrote about that. He did his. We'll get to the full hot seat index that he put together for ESPN.com, which is very good. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But he put Don Granato in the 4th tier of his hot seat index, which came out today, writing. Mike Harrington believes there's a better chance the Sabres add to their front office like a president of hockey operations than subtract from their bench. I never really thought of Granato as being in the mix of like you have to press that button, but we've seen 3 teams so far this season like have pressed that button. We've seen the results have been good so far. I think let's look at the standings. Are the Sabres so far out of it that the idea of them making a run is too unlikely?
I mean, in the Atlantic Division, it's going to be tough with the hole that they're in.
It would have to. I mean, it would have to be
with the rise of the Red Wings too. Like they're in a tough spot.
Let me pull up the wild card. So then the question then becomes: they are how many points out of a? Oh boy, you got to do some scrolling.
4 spots out of a wild card. 4 points out of a wild card.
They're
spot
4
right
points, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6 teams.
There's 6. So woo. So that's when they say like the U.S. Thanksgiving tough to make it. Like maybe it's not always the points. It's that if it's congested, you got to leapfrog a lot of teams.
Yeah, I think that they're in a really tough spot, and the conversation isn't like, is this team making the playoffs? It's, is this team showing something before the end of the season that gives you that makes you think that they're kind of back on track, and that's where they need to be, and that's why. Like, I don't think that Don Granato is a bad coach. We've seen him unlock several guys on the Sabres to a point where you're like, especially Tage Thompson. The Tage Thompson unlocking was massive for this team, and I think that he's a good coach. He's good with the young guys, but I do wonder at this point, like, is there a level that he's not going to be able to reach with this group? Because when I look at them, like, the talent is there. The roster is still good. It's you got to get them into good habits when it comes to forechecking, when it comes to their defensive structure, their positioning. Like, that's where I think that they're really going wrong, and they don't have that bite as a competitive team a lot of the time, where it just seems like they're floating out there, and they get killed with defensive mistakes, positional mistakes. And
that's any young, talented team,
right.
And that can last for 2 years, 3 years, maybe. It's kind of going on 100 years.
But you can't really do that when at the same time you're trying to, like, Devin Levi, young rookie goalie, try and figure this shit out in the NFL or the NHL, and you also have a team in front of them that can't play defense for their lives.
Right. By the way,
score now.
I'm going to add a 7th team to the list of teams that they have to leapfrog. Senators are better than them. And the Senators...
I was going to ask who was the most disappointing team in that division, whether it's Buffalo or Ottawa.
Senators have played like 2 games. They have 23. They've played 23 games. The Sabres have played 20. I misspoke again. 30 games. So they are... The Senators are 4 points behind the Sabres with 7 games in hand. Wow. They have a better... So Sabres are a 450 team. Senators are 478. So
who made their schedule? How are they 7 games behind the Buffalo Sabres?
They thought that they were going to be having more press conferences, so they were trying to plan more days off.
They expected a really long layover in Sweden.
Yeah. My God, though. It's a bummer. And it does make me have to retract or amend my early season take on the Sabres, which is, if this isn't the year, who cares? Next year can be the year. The year after can be the year.
But that was with the assumption that they would, like, barely miss the playoffs, correct?
Exactly. It was with, like, not yet.
Right.
There's a difference between not yet and we still good? We still happening?
If they repeated last year and missed by like a point and improved a little bit defensively, or you saw Devin Levi kind of show some glimpses as the goaltender of the future, I think you can feel good about that in that division. But what's happened with that team? I still do see some glimpses,
by the way, from Devin Levi.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like he said, the defense in front of him is tough, and that's the biggest problem.
Like, look at last night. It was
no, the forwards in front of him are tuck, you meant to say.
Yes.
UPL was in that last night, but like he didn't stand a chance in the first period. The team in front of him is terrible.
They didn't register a shot.
Wraparound goal was the worst play in hockey history.
I mean,
They also didn't register a shot for like the first 12 minutes of the game.
that just reminded me of what Scott Darling said, where he's like, if someone scores a wrapper on me, like, it's not my fault. It's my teammates need to know where to be. I mean, I think it was Sam in the chat that was kind of talking about Kevin Adams. Like, I get that you were kind of expecting some people to take a step forward, and Tage getting hurt obviously didn't help. Jack Quinn was pretty important for them late in the season last year, and he has been hurt.
Jack
but like,
Quinn's great.
they didn't. Their biggest issue was their defense, and they thought that Erik Johnson and Connor Clifton were going to be enough to like.
Hey, don't besmirch Connor Clifton.
Yeah, no,
I love Connor
I love
Clifton.
the
He's been
Clifton
very
signing.
good recently. But my point is that like that was enough to take this to like.
To me, it's more of an identity thing. Like
Yeah,
this
I
team
agree.
does not have
That's-
a defensive
and
and
identity.
that's what they
that's where-
talked about last night.
that Hank comment makes me shut up about the it's okay if it can just happen next year, it could happen whatever, because like there is something to the habits and the losing culture thing. And if any team in the NHL has a losing culture, of the teams we pay attention to, quite frankly, of the three teams we talk about, if any team has a losing culture, more so than the Oilers, it's the Sabres.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, they have the longest playoff drought in the NHL right now, which is kind of wild. But it's an identity thing. It's an effort level thing. I think that I sound like such an old head, and I used to like make fun of these people being like, it's such a lazy narrative to be like they don't want it bad enough. But like
I try to stay away from that.
There is an element of like they do not grind and put in the effort that you want to see on a nightly basis.
That's what Peyton Krebs said. They talked about it on the broadcast last night. That like a few days or a week or so ago, he was like, "This team just doesn't have like that kind of fuck you mentality." I don't remember the exact words he used. And
because the teams that have the fuck you mentality are like the best forechecking teams.
And that's like as far as Granato is concerned, like you're giving him credit for unlocking guys, and obviously Tage was hurt for a little bit, but like he hasn't been Tage this year. Like none of the players have been, none of their star players have been better this year than they were last year, and that's a problem. And then if the team also like just isn't bought in or whatever their issue is as far as mentality is concerned, like. That's where I think
and they're not even fun while losing. Obviously, like last year they were losing a bunch of games, but they were still fun. They were high event games. They're not scoring, like you said, they're not scoring at the clip that they were last year because they don't have their standout players carrying a ton of that weight. They're still struggling defensively, obviously, and it's not making for very inspiring or fun hockey to this point in the year. So I don't know if it's a better solution to add somebody to the front office and say, all right, we need an adult in the room who's going to kind of reshape this roster that gives us more of an
the
identity.
last time they had an adult in the room in terms of a president, they had to fire him for improprieties. So, and also, Brad pointed out that it was Cousins that said it, not Krebs. And Dylan Cousins is another example of a guy who just sucks this year. Like he was one of their better players last year, and now he hasn't scored a goal, and like he has 1 in 17 or something like that. Like it's not good. I
would like to do some number crunching on shooting percentages and see how much luck factors into it. But the Sabres this year are 25th in the NHL in goals per game, 2.83. They were third last year. Third, fourth, something like they were top 5, 3.57 goals a game. Woof. That I don't think that anybody saw, and as you said, Pete, it's been a health thing as well. But the regression offensively is troubling.
I didn't see that coming.
That was like the one thing. Like it would be like if like the Oilers weren't scoring.
And
like still allowing the goals.
Yeah, let me look. They have their PDO right now is 987, which is not great. They're probably like bottom. I think they're like bottom 10 in the league, and they're not getting like a ton of saves, so that's part of it. But they're going to be better. I still think that this team is capable of being a good team or an entertaining team, but they haven't been to start this year. And I think that there's only so long where you can kind of let that sit and remain with this group, because like you said, you can get stuck in that and you can start to develop bad habits that are tough to break out of based off of how long you sit in a certain space. And this space, this season was supposed to be a space that the Sabres were, okay, we're a competitive team. We are a team that plays hard every night. We're taking that next step forward. And because of the regression as a team, I think that you need to do something about it sooner rather than later. And to me, from the outside looking in, and I hate like calling for firings, especially when I don't think a guy is a bad coach, but Granato needs to get like a grip on this team and get them to play a different style of hockey, and it needs to happen pretty soon.
Sean, what was a tougher aesthetic? Because like that was last night wasn't just like we lost. It was you were probably hitting intermissions being like, fuck, this happened, or like we're getting embarrassed out there. What was a worse aesthetic and more symbolic of this is horrible? The first goal they allowed that I mentioned before, where basically Rantanen like took the whole team with him, or Jeff Skinner getting absolutely lit up by Nathan McKinnon.
Not the chaos bump we wanted to see.
Yeah, that was not ideal. Yeah, I feel like it's probably the Skinner hit.
Same, yeah.
Because the worst part about that Skinner hit was that like 5 seconds before, it might have been Clifton. Like the Sabres hit somebody, and it was like, oh, nice. And
Show
then
a little fight.
And then it was just like the hardest hit I've ever seen in my life on the smallest player on the ice. Yeah, that one sucked. To me, the most emblematic of all of it was like, I think it was the second goal they gave up, where there was just absolute chaos. UPL was like laying on his side without his stick, and he literally, with his blocker hand, just had to like swat at the puck, and it missed because he was laying on his side. There was
Also,
no one there.
UPL
Is that
made
reverse
like 3
VH?
or 4
Is that
huge.
is that VH reverse VH?
UPL made like three or 4 big saves before like the levee broke.
Exactly. That's what I said before the show, I think, is that like it wasn't his fault. Like it's not that they're not getting. I mean, it's kind of like the Oilers issue where it's like it's hard to even tell how bad the goalies are because the entire team sucks.
Right.
No one is getting like the goalies are not getting a real opportunity at success.
I have a solution for them, and mainly this is engagement hunting. So bear with me. We'll just make a clip out of this.
Oh boy.
The Sabres need Draymond Green.
I would take it. I mean, I do think the Sabres need to fight somebody.
A,
like
they need to do some shit. B, close kind of match.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And he's currently unemployed, or he's not working.
He's out of work. He's free.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a bunch of clothes that kind of look the same way anyway. He's 6'6". Tage, handshake meme, gang. What a line that would be.
That would be, I mean, they've got some big bodies on that roster, but I think Draymond Green adds an element that would really help the Buffalo Sabres.
also putting people in headlocks is like a standard practice.
Also,
in the
he loves
NHL.
punching people. Why not come to a sport in which that's allowed?
Imagine Draymond giving a Draymond press conference after the game. People would be like, this is the coolest and smartest hockey player in the world. Amazing. It would be like the thing that we were talking about with Seth Jones of just like the language and the vibe and everything is just so different and the attitude and everything. If you just like dropped a demonstrative NBA player into the NHL and he
Especially
like
one
sat
that
at a podium and was
punching
like,
Europeans.
look, idiots, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm not sorry for that shit. That guy was being a dummy. Am I right, everybody? And like all these like very nice hockey reporters are like,
And then he's going to go talk about it on his podcast right after the game.
yeah.
I love that. Good for the sport.
Draymond to
Grow the game. Draymond to the Buffalo Sabres.
What's the Sabres cap situation?
I don't think it's too bad right now.
No,
it's
because they got a lot of guys who are getting ready to make,
Yeah.
which is another reason why you wanted them to be good this year.
Exactly.
Because a lot of their guys are set to get paid starting next year. So this would be the year where they could go out and add something. And now you're like, what the fuck?
Do us all a favor. When that clip drops, we need the comments to be, of course, funny stuff, boys. Period. And like, this is amazing crossover content. Act like we're really kind of reinventing sports media here.
This is both my favorite NHL and NBA podcast.
This is where I get my NHL and NBA news.
Yeah. There we
Who
go.
is-
and MLB.
What's that?
And MLB. We've had a
That's
little baseball
right.
talk on here before.
And Arizona Coyotes sometimes too.
Because that's not hockey.
Independent league.
I don't
They play in their own league.
plead ignorance on this. That's for sure where our tanked Spotify thing came from, by the way.
What?
Coyotes fans.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, we were wondering where.
It's like there's nothing you can do about it, losers. And they're like, yes, there is.
Yeah, we were wondering where the orchestrated attack on our Spotify rankings came from, and the Coyotes fans were very near the top of the suspects list. But nice try, terrorists. We're back up to 4.7.
Get us to all right.
Get us to 5.
I really want to get to 4.9. 4.9, I feel, is better than 5.0.
Yeah, because 5.0, you're like, there's no way everybody likes this.
You're a little dangerous.
Yeah, right.
If you're 4.9, it's like we talk about movies a lot, and I was really annoyed when everybody was like, Everything Everywhere All at Once is so good. And I was talking to some ordinary motherfuckers, and I was like,
there's no way you got this movie.
You don't just say you don't like right. This movie is so good and like wacky and out there. It deserves you're not understanding it.
Yeah, right. Like that's more insulting to me than somebody just being like, I didn't get it. It wasn't for me. Rather than somebody just saying that they liked a movie for the sake of like falling in line with everybody else.
Sean, we were talking about Get Out yesterday. Like after I saw Get Out, and after a lot of people saw Get Out, they were like, when can I go see Get Out again so I could see and figure everything out and catch all the Easter eggs and everything?
Read a couple articles and then go back to it, yeah.
Like a lot of people saw Get Out and were like, holy shit. Not only will I never watch that movie again, I will never sleep again. Like, that fucked me up too bad. And I loved that it could give off like I need to see everything in like close detail to like, I need to just think about life for a long time. So really good shit will give off like the different feels. So if you have the positive feels about the Sabres, let us know. Comment. Funny stuff, boys. I got a comment on my sugar intake. It's getting lower and lower because I keep pounding these Ollie Pops. And I'm saying, where's all the sugar? And wouldn't you know it? It's got fewer than 5 grams per can.
That's not a lot.
So what am I doing trying to get my sugar out of that? Tell you what, if I want some dietary fiber, maybe I'm in the right place. Because if you're like 2 of 3 Americans, you probably got some digestive issues. We all got it. It happens to every guy. That's what they say. It happens to everybody. It's totally common. Don't freak out about it.
That's right.
If you find yourself having digestive issues, it happens to everybody.
Welcome to the club. We meet on Thursdays.
It happens all the time. Ollie Pop is the perfect thing for it because it's a prebiotic, delicious soda. We say all the time, it's a soda that doesn't taste like it's trying to do anything. It doesn't taste like it's trying to make up for anything. It's good for you, but it's not trying to fake its way through any stuff.
Comfortable in its own skin.
It is comfortable in its own skin. It is delicious, whether it's the lemon lime, whether it's the strawberry vanilla, the cream soda, the grape. Sean's always saying,
the grape.
He's wearing a Jacob Lauko jersey over there.
Shut up, Jacob Lauko.
Yeah, with the grapes. He loves grapes. We call him.
Can't confirm.
We call him Don Cherry because he likes grapes so much. That's
Sean DeLauco.
Yeah, he loves it. And we love Ollie Pop. We love drinkolliepop.com, which is where if you use promo code chaos, you can get 20% off your order. And just as easy as going to drinkolliepop.com, going to 22,000 stores.
Just as easy.
One or the other. You can do both right from your phone. It's amazing. You can. Just put in your phone directions to 22,000 stores. It'll take you right there.
Anybody who's on my Christmas list this year, get ready to learn Ollie Pop, buddy.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Cans and cases all over the place.
I'll tell you what, a nice little Ollie Pop cornucopia. I know that Christmas isn't a cornucopia holiday. There's famous only one cornucopia. You're looking at me like you've never heard the word cornucopia before.
Is that the like the Fruit of the Loom thing? That little like, weird basket?
Yeah,
that
Sean,
doesn't
what do you know about
exist.
cornucopias?
I know that's like
The
a Mandela
Mandela
effect thing, but that for sure was part of the
Oh
Fruit
yeah,
of the
no,
Loom logo
there
at
is
some
a
point.
conspiracy.
You stop
Undoubtedly,
gaslighting
yeah.
me.
No, that is.
Do you know about this?
What?
The the Mandela effect, where it's like people think that
Oh, yeah.
the cornucopia was allegedly never part of the Fruit of the Loom logo.
Yeah, it's like apples.
It's just fruit, but
Yeah.
but there's a
I
large portion
swear.
of society, us included, apparently, that always thought that fruit was in a cornucopia in the logo.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
And
I cannot be convinced that it was never part of it.
There's a conspiracy.
What a sports podcast. We're just a bunch of Anna Cornucopia talkers.
Whenever I hear cornucopia, I think of the Hunger Games.
How many Olipop reads have you heard that not only said cornucopia a million times, but also fruit of the loom a lot of times? So go to drinkolipop.com, use promo code chaos for 20% off your order, or head to 22,000 stores. I mentioned before that our pal Greg Wyshynski at ESPN, who's the best, did his hot seat index, basically ran down all the coaches and where they stand on proximity to getting fired. The top tier, not a surprise, had but one person, DJ Smith of the Ottawa Senators. That's got to happen at some point. And right now, with DJ Smith and Michael Andlauer, I'm kind of like Shane Gillis with Donald Trump, of like, Shane Gillis like doesn't want Donald Trump to be president, but he's like, just let him debate again. I don't necessarily need DJ Smith to be fired, but if he doesn't get fired, I need a vote of confidence press conference, because I need Andlauer to give a press conference.
Yeah,
even if he's
fair.
not doing anything, just give another press conference.
I would be so in favor of just Senators' State of the Union press conferences like once a month.
Monthly.
Yeah. Like I want I want Andlauer to take the Donald Trump approach to him running the Ottawa Senators, which is that he just puts himself in front of the camera and holds press conferences like twice a day,
Speeches
every day of the year.
Lot of speeches.
Yeah.
What, man?
Give us more, King.
What you got, Sean?
I was just doing
You were agreeing?
No, I was doing the Trump hand sign.
I thought you were doing like I thought you were
The Randy Moss
thing.
DJ Smith, I've said this to you before. DJ Smith looks exactly like that actor who RIP'd. He was in like Corky Romano. He's the brother of somebody famous. Shit, I forget who it was.
Luke Hughes?
Yes. Luke Hughes, famously. Let me see. I'm looking up Corky Romano, that famous movie starring Chris Kattan. Chris Penn. Chris Penn.
Oh, Chris Penn. Yeah, he is.
DJ Smith looks like Chris Penn.
Super dead. Yeah,
Yes.
I know what you're talking about now. Also on so the next tier, my main takeaway from this is, what does hot in the summer mean?
I would say that like their job is safe until the summer.
Okay, so I just didn't know.
Hot for the summer.
I didn't know if that was like a pun or
hot seat summer
quip or cool for the summer.
Yeah, that was the joke that I hot for the summer.
Yeah, so I didn't know. We're gonna have to ask Wish what that means. I do take it literally though to also mean that maybe in the summer they're in trouble. Hackstall, Sheldon Keefe, Lindy. I feel like Lindy's always kind of in the mix.
The MJD baby.
Yeah, the Mew Jersey Devils.
No, it's because you know why you said that?
The Mid Jersey Devils.
No, because
that's a good bar though. Like
It is.
pretty good. No, he thinks that he should be coaching in Jacksonville.
Maurice Jones-Drew. I was like, I don't get it, but
This is where you get your football news, folks.
that is the classic Lindy Ruff experience. I feel like I've said that before. He's going to be really good, but not good enough, and then get fired. Buffalo, Dallas, now potentially.
This is very random. But did you see the picture that went viral of Hillary Duff last week?
Hillary Buff?
Yes.
No.
Somebody. I saw somebody comment and was like, "Why she built like Maurice Jones-Drew?"
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
It made me laugh.
I need to defend Pascal Vincent here from Greg's vicious blade.
I think that he should be on the hot seat in the summer. I think that they have the ability to reevaluate, reassess, yeah. Which is why I was surprised that I believe that he is not the interim head coach. I think that he's the head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets. I was surprised that they named him as regular and not interim, just because obviously the circumstances were weird and he was just kind of cast into that job at the last second. Nobody would have thrown a fit if they didn't name him head coach, if they just were like, we're going to have an interim coach for the year. I think that's what the Panthers did with Andrew Burnett after Joel Quenneville was fired. So, I think they put themselves in a weird spot where they kind of committed to a guy where they didn't have to. But I would absolutely reassess, especially given what's gone on with that team this year. Like, we didn't expect them to be good, but the way that he's managed some of the players, the Patrick Laine thing, Fantilli only getting like 11 minutes one night and not skating in the third period. Like, there's been some interesting decisions where you're not supposed to bench those guys in certain spots. You let them learn, and don't sit guys for the sake of winning games when that's not the top priority this year for that team.
Yeah, I want to cheer up the Blue Jackets. We're going to Columbus, by the way.
Yeah, we're going to Columbus this weekend. Big content trip. Very excited.
We're going to do a pro shop war there.
Yep.
We're going to try to grab everything we can. Although
I'm very interested in that pro shop wars because I have never been impressed by the Blue Jackets branding. And I'm interested to see if there's anything that really seizes me.
Exactly.
When we get in those doors.
I feel like do we talk about this on the show yesterday where we were being kind of vague?
We were being vague. Yeah. We were saying we're doing a pro shop war or someplace where we
don't jersey like I was talking about, the third Blue Jackets jersey with the cannon. I fucking love that jersey.
You know me.
Dibs on using the whole budget to get Sean that jersey, so I don't have to get anything.
You know me. I hate faux backs, and that one is a faux back.
How is it a faux back? It's just got a cannon on it.
But the jersey design itself is based to be like an old school style hockey jersey.
Yeah,
kind of. I also get that off it.
Okay.
It stinks of like a wannabe Winter Classic jersey.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
I want you to be happy, Sean, but I do agree with Pete there that it does look like.
Oh no, that's fair.
I do. I like the idea of them going with the cannon.
I want you to like what you like.
I want you to be happy, but I think that like they should incorporate the cannon into more branding. I just wish they wouldn't do it like that.
That's fair. I'm also just a huge fan of the like navy powder blue color scheme.
I've liked some of their jerseys. I was going through them all.
The reverse retro one was pretty.
I'm not gonna. Who cares? On the chat, by the way, has anybody noticed that I'm just straight up wearing a winter coat? Is there a lot of buzz about that?
I haven't seen anyone mention it.
Your winter coat?
I forgot the shacket that I meant to wear today. I just put on a winter coat.
You look like you're in like a LL Bean ad.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a lot of LL Bean. Thank you to the people who have noticed. I've been wearing bean boots basically every day. A couple weeks ago, I was in the break-in period, had to wear them for a few days in a row, and I was like, I'm just never taking off bean boots. They're the best. So I think I'm going to wear them the whole time in Columbus, not bring any other stuff. But yeah, we'll have a good time there. I do feel bad, though, that Vincent is so high already.
I don't think that's the most egregious one in that list, though, because David Quinn is under the getting warmer category, which David Quinn is in the running for Jack Adams based on the San Jose Sharks.
According to this show, yes. Yeah, I mean, he's coaching the hottest team in hockey. And do you have the second group? So you got David Quinn under getting warmer with Martin St. Louis, which I think that he should be in like a who cares section.
Right. Like Martin St. Louis is sort of in the Don Granato category of like he's unlocked several players in Montreal, and you have to base the team's performance on the roster quality. And the roster quality in Montreal is not good. Like, I think that you give Martin St. Louis a little extra leash, and he's pretty far down the list because he's not coached a good team yet. So
I think that in the case though of Quinn, you should be pretty happy if you're the Sharks. Like this looks like somebody who can navigate a rebuild. Like that's awesome. And I'm a David Quinn guy, but I didn't know if this could happen. I thought that they would probably start pretty bad, be pretty bad the whole season, and then you'd kind of guess where that franchise goes.
He's shown that he's capable of rallying the troops. He's shown that he's capable of getting a pretty bad roster to kind of grind it out and fight every night. Like, you don't think the Buffalo Sabres wish that they had that guy in their locker room at this point?
I feel like Don Granato should be hot in the summer.
Really?
No, I think that he's a smidge under, not a smidge, but like one layer below DJ Smith at this point, because the Sabres have been that embarrassing and that frustrating this season.
Yeah, but I feel like I feel like he's going to get a little bit of a break considering all the injuries that they've had in the first half. And like, I don't know. I just don't see him getting fired in the middle of the season. But what exactly is broken thermostats? What is the?
That's
would
the thing.
guess that's-
I would think the broken thermostat would be higher than hot in the summer.
Yeah, but like hot in the summer is just like we'll kick this can down the road a little bit.
Right. So I bet that in the intro, and I just skipped to the meat. I bet that Greg probably pointed out that there are these sections obviously mean different things, but they are not necessarily like
Who's getting fired first?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
This isn't like in order of who's getting fired, but like for somebody, the hot in the summer section like does mean like there's a good chance they're gonna get fired, so they should be high on the list, even if somebody like I could see Mike Sullivan getting fired before some of the guys in the hot in the summer section.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's kind of the point that he was making.
Yeah,
Although
like, it's in no
I think I would
particular
put
order.
Sheldon Keefe in getting warmer. Like I guess hot in the summer makes sense too. I don't know.
Yeah, if they get bounced in like the first round or
Yeah.
something like that, then
Should
Lane Lambert is a good pick though for broken thermostat. Like Lane Lambert is on a very hot seat at this point.
Yeah. How about this? Should the Islanders hire Bill Belichick? Is he the next head coach? Let's just keep taking these very
crossovers.
insincere swings of like what players are getting talked about in the sports world. All of our takes will just be about like LeBron and Stephen A. Smith. And those are the
What if Buffalo hired Bill Belichick to be their president of sports operations, and they just had him run both the Bills and the Senators, and the Sabres? Sorry,
Sean, are the Bills winning a Super Bowl with Bill Belichick?
no.
I don't think so. I think that he would have a weird time with Josh Allen too.
I don't think that the Bills are. I don't think that Buffalo was ever going to win anything ever.
Oh, don't, dude. Sean's like having a bad time. His teams aren't looking so great.
Speaking of having a bad time, the Minnesota Wild are in a state of complete disarray right now.
Disrepair.
I wanted to ask this because I'm sure you saw it last night. Biz made the comment about that the Islanders season tickets are worse than getting coal. Are Islanders season tickets worse than Wild season tickets?
I bet Wild games are cool. Their arena is dope.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I think both of those teams have very good fan bases. I really like the Islanders fan base. They're extremely passionate. It's an extremely tight-knit community. Like going to the Islanders game a couple of years ago when they beat the Bruins in the playoffs was like one of my favorite experiences, just because you can tell that is like a smaller fan base, but they're very, very passionate, very, very tight. Like they, after the game ended, they all flocked to like the nearest bar and they all just hang out there and they just talk about the Islanders.
Finally, a fan base that goes to the bar after a game.
No, but like
Yeah.
it felt like that stupid holiday Hallmark movie where like the small town just fucking is obsessed with the hockey team and it doesn't really
Checking it
make
twice?
sense. Checking it twice.
Sold.
Yeah. That felt like the New York Islanders experience. And they tailgate outside in the middle of the winter before games. Like that shit rules.
And I think it was
I'm a big fan.
Marner that made the comment recently after they played the Islanders, obviously, and they booed Tavares. He was like, it just shows how passionate the fans are.
That was Beauvillier, I
It was
think.
Marner's dad, I think.
I don't know who it was, but yeah, I saw that, and like, yeah, respect. And I saw somebody complaining that they shouldn't be. I want to say it was like some analyst in Canada was like, I can't believe that they continued to boo him. Just like get over it. No, don't.
No, if you choose to leave, then the fans have every right to
I
leave.
respect
Right.
the hell out of them holding that grudge until the day that they die.
Right. Like there are examples where like if Bruins fans booed Torrey Krug, that would be
be like,
ridiculous
fuck
because
off,
he was
yeah.
like, "Can I please come back?" And they
Yeah.
were like,
No.
"You don't got what it takes, boy. We're not giving you you want to get real money? Who do you think you are?" And then if he came back with his new team and people were like, "Boo, you just got a big contract somewhere else." Like, yeah, after he basically was like,
Please let me stay.
like he was Mr. Boston, like great ambassador for the game, et cetera, loved it. And the team was like Tom Brady with the Patriots, where like he was trying to stay and the team was like, get out of here.
Yeah.
But if it's like the team wants me back, they're doing everything they can, and I just want to leave, I respect that. Totally go do that. But part of the fun is going to be, okay, now they say, fuck you, man.
Plus, like if they get over it, quote unquote, get over it, and they're nice to John Tavares, like that takes away entertainment from the league. Like I'm still tuning in every time John Tavares plays on Long Island because he just gets absolutely ruthlessly killed every time he's there, and I think it's hilarious.
I also don't like get over it culture from fans.
Yeah,
that's like perilously close to gatekeeping.
The entire purpose of like being a fan is being like a little crazy.
So I harp on this all the time, man. Like, what is, and I'm stealing this from Chris Gasper of the Boston Globe. Fan is short for fanatic.
Yeah.
There is not, like, it is in the definition that it is illogical.
Yeah. You're allowed to be a little ridiculous.
So, like,
I hate
certain
Jack
things.
Eichel forever.
That is
Is that fair?
Fanatical.
Probably not, but I hate him forever.
He was
I
mismanaged.
like Jack Eichel.
He was mismanaged, but
One time I was on a flight with Jack Eichel, and it was during the VC stuff. They had just traded for his rights, and I was like, yo, man.
It is a wonder
VC?
that the
He was like,
Sabres
I
have the
hope, man.
longest drought in hockey.
Nice.
I
I was
don't
like,
know how that happened.
bye. It was at the NHL. It was at the NHL draft. I don't know why Jack Eichel was going to the NHL draft. He'd already been drafted at that point.
he's just taking his victory lap. He's like, remember when
He's like the guys who like go back to high school like when they're a year or two into college, like
wearing his
I'm
Letterman
back.
jacket.
It's
He
like,
just wears his Letterman jacket with like the number
we have
2
school,
on it.
dude. Get out of here. I did that one year, like visit my friends and stuff. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, the Minnesota Wild in a state of disarray off the ice. On the ice, they're playing pretty well since firing Dean Evison.
People
but
forget.
they just mutually parted ways, quote unquote, with assistant GM yesterday.
O'Hearn. Mr. O'Hearn.
Mr. O'Hearn. What's his first name?
I'm respectful.
For some reason, it's not in the notes. It's just name is not in the notes.
Mr. Guerin.
Respectfully, Mr. O'Hearn has been he's abruptly out in a mutual parting of ways. Chris O'Hearn. Bill Guerin's right-hand
Mr.
man.
Guerin.
And it's coming under mysterious circumstances because not a lot's being said. It's following an investigation that was commissioned by the Wild with an outside firm. And apparently there were no signs that this was coming because he was just on the team's road trip last week. 4-game road trip apparently was
As the head honcho because Mr.
Right.
Guerin wasn't on that trip.
Was not on that trip. And he is a very active assistant GM. He is like their was their lead contract negotiator, was like their big numbers guy. So this is a pretty big deal. And there's not a lot of details. It just comes on the heels of a investigation. Apparently there were 2 recent internal investigations conducted within the Wild, and not a lot of details on either of them, but they were back to back. And this one resulted in Chris O'Hearn being essentially dismissed, mutual parting of ways. But I think that we can say that he was like dismissed from the team.
Do you think that we will get additional reporting on this? Do you think the rumor mill will run wild?
There's nothing to suggest that a mysterious dismissal from a team would result in rampant rumors just coming out of nowhere. We've never seen that. That
has not happened once this year. By the way, also Hanukkah going on. Shout out, happy Hanukkah, everybody. Zach Hyman's high school in Toronto, not his current high school. He's a professional athlete now. He's having a great season.
Sometimes he goes back to his high school though, just to be like, I'm better than you. He wears
Zach Hyman can do that. They're like, yo, that's that dude. He scores goals from real close. But his high school has received multiple bomb threats in a wave of anti-Semitism. So I feel terrible that this is like the latest round of Zach Hyman has to address like, holy shit, you fucking idiots, stop.
Yeah, and it also kind of sucks that like Zach Hyman is like the Jewish poster boy.
So that's
of
what
the
I'm
NHL.
saying. Like horrible shit happening, and obviously like it's good on him that he's like so well spoken on all these things. But Jesus.
That's kind of
Christ.
like the double-edged sword a little bit when it comes to like representation in the NHL, where like he's proud to be Jewish. He's, it's nice that like you want to put yourself out there as like, like if you're a young Jewish boy, you can look up to me and if you want to play in the NHL. But then like when shit happens, people immediately go running to you to be like the voice of the Jewish community when it comes to like that in the NHL.
So I heard a story recently that there was like an event in the Celtics, or Drew Holiday from the Celtics was at this event, and it was for, I don't know what it was for, but somebody was like, hey, are you experiencing racism in Boston? And he was like,
God,
what? Which is such a shitty question because like I would think the answer as a Black American anyway, and this isn't like a Boston defense or whatever, but like I think if you ask any Black American, like, are you experiencing racism? Like their answer is like,
some points, yeah.
But it was like just an out of left field, like we're doing this thing, and somebody would just like kind of wanted to write the like, Boston is racist story or something. And I do hear what you're saying of like you have to be the spokesperson for.
Well, we
like,
see it in the NHL too.
Trauma.
We see it in the NHL too when it comes to like Black athletes. Obviously, it's a predominantly white league, and anytime like there's issues of race come up, everybody runs to like the same players over and over again in the NHL. And then it's a double-edged sword where it's like you're obviously proud, but sometimes I'm assuming that you don't want to have to answer some of those questions.
Yeah. The quote from Hyman: as somebody the young Jewish kids looked up to, not just an athlete, but as a proud Jewish person, I think it's important when things are really tough, a community binds together, it sticks together and fights anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism has been rising for years, and now it's reached the point where it's scary. So shout out Zach Hyman, shout out Toronto, shout out all our Jewish pals. My goodness.
Your Zach Hyman jersey is quite literally in the mail.
It is in the mail. I have been feverishly tracking my Zach Hyman jersey.
I do like that there have been several arcs when it comes to you and jerseys already in this show. And we've found resolutions pretty quickly on most of them. You're like, should I get a Zach Hyman jersey? Should I customize this Oilers jersey to be Zach Hyman? You eventually settled on yes pretty quickly. And you had should I get a JVR Bruins jersey? That obviously happened.
That is one of my favorite possessions right now. I feel so good about that purchase. Like I'm
glad I inspired it.
What's that?
I said I'm glad I inspired
Totally inspired by Sean because
I know, even though you were thinking of getting one before.
Nah, dude, you looked too good that day.
You did have some reservations about it being too small.
Yeah.
Are you still uncomfortable with the sizing of the jersey, or is it like the most important possession that you own because it's a JVR jersey and because it inspires you to slim down? New Year's resolution. Shop for the body that you want, not the body you have.
What the fuck did you just know? Just kidding. This is all stuff that we have discussed. So
I know.
It's okay. I could have made you so much like.
I wouldn't have felt uncomfortable because we.
Are you talking about my weight, cheater? Shout out. Fuck diet culture. Asshole. It's a terrible thing. Everything. I personally feel better and I'm a little more productive when I'm drinking more water and feeling better. So that was very appropriate and fair to say. Yes, my Oilers, my Hyman jersey is a 46.
Okay. Is that too small?
That is a 50.
Oh,
and
wow.
Still, when I put it on, it wasn't that it fit too snug. Like I was wearing it with you. I don't think you were too embarrassed to
never. I mean, I was embarrassed because you were wearing a Bruins jersey, but I didn't think anything of how it fit you or anything like that.
It's when I was putting it on and taking it off is like very tough. But do you experience that with your jerseys?
Yeah.
So like it's just hard to put on and take off hockey jerseys?
Yeah, I think that hockey jerseys are not built for like comfort or speed.
They're not built for any of the shit we do with them, and we are hammering hockey jerseys. We have netted negative like $3,000 starting this show.
Please
just from buying
sponsor the show.
Hockey jerseys. They did have a white JVR jersey in 52. and I grabbed it. I tried it on. It was okay, but I was like,
black is more thinning, and you have to be. The white jerseys give me anxiety because you can't spill anything on them. I'm trying to eat chicken tenders at a hockey game, and so it frightens me to wear a white jersey.
I have a jersey coming in the mail also right now. Shout out to Syracuse Crunch. They're sending me one of their throwback jerseys, which
That's
are
a white one, right?
fucking sick, and they are white. Yeah. Other thing I was gonna say is if I am to get a Blue Jackets rock or Cannon jersey, who do I get? Does it have to be Fantilli? But he hasn't worn it.
so this is the conversation that I'm glad that let's just have the podcast go for another like 5 hours. Like this is the conversation I really want to have. Like what do we get if we get custom Blue Jackets jerseys? Not to be presumptuous, the Blackhawks gave them to us, no questions asked.
But we have discussed that we don't want Blue Jackets jerseys. We want the Blue Jackets robe, the bathrobe that
I
Matty
specifically
Healy
want
made famous.
a Blue Jackets
23
Matty Healy robe.
Same.
I don't even want it to say Bean on it.
Same.
But I wouldn't hate a Blue Jackets custom Bean jersey for myself. And it says 20, like whatever year we want. We could do 23 for the year, 24, my favorite number. That's not Jake Bean's number.
Yeah.
They have a player named Bean.
That would be very
And I think
confusing.
the idea of just getting a Blue Jackets jersey that says Bean and has like the wrong number would be amazing.
That would be very funny. But also very funny is that when we got our Blackhawks jerseys customized, it says on the back, DJ Bean, which I found hilarious. They must have thought.
I think there was
this
confusion between the point man on the jersey front. I don't want to call anybody out. It was probably our friend Anthony.
Who is the best?
Who's the best?
He
It
is
is
the
like
best.
it is like a core chaos member.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
like we text with him all the time.
He's the most helpful and like generous person.
He also set the bar because he cared about me, little producer. And so that's, I don't know, you guys might have a different metric, but that is going to be my metric.
We do have a different metric.
Do they give me a thing? Do
We
they
don't
care
care.
about me too?
Yeah, he. So what's cool about Anthony is the Blackhawks have an employee who is basically just like an, for lack of a better term, influencing liaison. And so like Young the Giant was in Chicago the other day, so they did a bunch of stuff with the Blackhawks and they got custom jerseys and like they had this great experience. So this cool band is posting all this stuff. We're not Young the Giant, but we do some stuff in the hockey world. So every team should have an Anthony. They're not going to be the quality of Anthony because Anthony's also like the
if
nicest,
you've noticed an uptick in
biggest
Blackhawks
hockey fan.
exposure, it's
Yeah.
because of Anthony.
He rocks and he's nice. He was very supportive of us. Like we're not gonna. Hopefully this show goes for a long time. It's definitely not lost on us that people, whether it was like Marchand or whomever else from the beginning, were like super cool about like, yeah, let's do it. How can I help? Anthony's kind of been that same way. So every team should have an Anthony.
Correct.
So shout out Anthony.
Yeah, but how did we even get on this?
Well,
you were saying, what does he get on
I
his
asked
jersey?
what player I should get on it.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
you just
right.
asked what stuff we get.
No,
we have
but
to get mugs.
I would love.
Mugs?
Yeah, we definitely need to get mugs. I would love to see your DJ Bean nameplate trend continue. I think it's very funny.
I feel like for the Blue Jackets, they might feel
obligated
to,
like they
to
might not
confuse,
make me a
regular Bean jersey. Yeah.
wrong number.
Oh, true, yeah.
jersey.
Which
But,
is
but I
very-
would also maybe just take a Jake Bean.
It is funny because like you know how they do like if this person has a name
You can't.
you do you also do like the J Bean
Yeah.
and it would be like one step further DJ Bean.
I mean, if I were a professional athlete and there were another Bean on my team, I would probably have to have DJ Bean, right?
Or just D Bean.
But no, so normally you
that
would do
be
D
hilarious.
Bean.
It'd be hilarious if they did D Bean actually, because then you'd have D Bean and DJ Bean on the back of your two jerseys.
But like, if your full name or like what you go by has one more letter, and like how so many players do put their full names on the back of their jerseys.
That
anyway.
happened in the NFL at some point when I was growing up. Where
sneaky common, where like people will put their full names on the back of their jersey.
it wasn't the full name, but it was like two initials. I've seen that in the NFL before.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you see it when there's like brothers on a team and they have like their names both start with the same letter.
No,
so then you'll have like D.
The Hughes don't do that though, do they? They both just have Hughes on the back of their jersey.
No, they have to have.
I believe so.
Really?
Yeah, I think that they just have
That sounds
Hughes,
right.
the both of them, because when they took that picture, all of them just had Hughes.
Oh,
on the
right.
back. And
Weird.
it's funny because Quinn entered the league first, was number 43. Jack entered the league second, was 86. And I think that Luke Hughes is a coward for not continuing that trend and wearing a 172.
Somebody suggested in the chat, BD Bean. That would probably be what it should be.
Brave Dave.
For Brave Dave.
Nice.
I want the Bruins to get Trevor Van Riemsdyk because I would get an additional JVR jersey to say J Van Riemsdyk. And then I'd be one step closer to having a jersey that says James Van
Riemsdyk. It would be T Van Riemsdyk because he
No, they don't. No, I think that when there's two, they make both
you're grandfathered in.
I don't know about that. It will be brothered in. I think it will be brothered in, not grandfathered in.
Yeah.
James Van Riemsdyk, famously not Trevor Van Riemsdyk's grandfather. Anyway, let us know if you feel Draymond Green should play for the Buffalo Bills. And if you have any Columbus recommendations for us, pass them along.
You just immediately have gone past the Sabres.
Yeah.
Now he's a better fit for the Bills.
Also, I did see somebody did comment on it when we were talking about cities with water. And you were like, well, Chicago would work. And I said, yeah, because of the river.
Yeah.
And like, no one said anything. And we kept going.
Yeah.
I love it. All right.
Nice.
Well, Draymond Green to the Buffalo. Is there a third Buffalo team?
The Buffalo Bandits, the lacrosse team.
Yes.
I
would
brought
not
this
give
up to
Draymond
Pete
Green
the
a
other day.
lacrosse stick.
I don't know if you know this. The greatest player in Buffalo Bandits history is the cousin of John Tavares, also named John Tavares. He's currently the head coach of that team. Just won the championship this last season.
Booed
Johnny who?
Does he get booed?
Tavares. No, he's an icon. He's a legend.
So he's
number in the
good.
Raptors.
He's good.
That's
John
actually
Tavares?
hot seat John Tavares, the hockey player, because there's already a John Tavares with his number retired in an NHL arena.
Clock is ticking. All right. Well, that's Sean's hot seat index. This has been a fun week of What Chaos. We're off to Columbus. Yeah, give us recommendations. We'll be posting stuff from there. Follow us on all the socials. Share on Instagram and TikTok if you can do such a thing, or Twitter, whatever.
You can repost.
Share and repost Pro Shop Wars. We're trying to get that sponsored. We need the numbies, and like and comment with a sincere funny stuff, boys. Period.
Comment in the comments of the Pro Shop thing your bid to sponsor the show or the segment. Just put a $, highest dollar sign in the comments gets to sponsor the Columbus Blue Jackets Pro Shop Wars.
Comment on it because we ask, who do you think won? Comment say, are the only options for who won DJ and Pete? Because I think we, the viewers, won.
There you
Stuff
go.
like that. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Go Oilers.
We all silly like the mayor.